A friend once told me their favorite authentic Mexican place had sushi, burgers, fajita, fries on one menu. By the time their tacos arrived, they knew something was off. This video breaks down how to read a menu like an insider, how small details, from the tortilla choice to the color of the cheese, reveal whether a kitchen respects Mexican tradition or just rides the label for profit. Number 1, Taco Bell. You think Taco Bell counts as Mexican food because it has tacos and burritos on the sign? But what's behind that neon logo isn't cultural flavor, it's industrial design. This chain built its empire on the image of Mexico while removing the substance that made it. Every part of its menu runs on assembly line speed. Pre-cooked beef and powdered seasonings replace the slow-cooked proteins and layered spices that define real Mexican cooking. What you get is food engineered for uniform taste, not crafted for depth. The fillings are mass fillers, stripped of texture or regional nuance, made to travel long shipping routes without spoiling. Look closer at the ingredients. Wheat flour shells, melted yellow cheese, and bagged sauces. They tell you exactly what the kitchen values: consistency over freshness. Authentic Mexican kitchens rely on corn masa, white cheeses, and hand-ground chili mixes, where aroma and texture matter as much as spice balance. That balance disappears when efficiency comes first. Compare that to a real taqueria. Smaller menus, open grilling, and salsas made daily in batches you can smell from the street. Those places cook for flavor, not for speed. Here's the truth. When every item in a restaurant tastes nearly identical, that isn't tradition. It's factory flavor in disguise. And even healthier chains that promise fresh upgrades often repeat these same hollow shortcuts, just wrapped in fancier packaging. Number 2, Chipotle. The line looks fresh, but the bowls tell another story. When you walk into Chipotle, the setup screams farm-sourced and clean eating, with banners about local produce and responsibly raised meats. On the surface, it feels like the better fast food choice: customizable, colorful, and modern. But dig into how that system works and the cracks start to show. Chipotle's brand is built on the promise of freshness. Yet its past food safety scares forced many customers to question what that word really means. It's easy to forget that even a quick-service kitchen claiming to source ethically can stumble when volume outweighs detail. The illusion of control, being able to pick every topping, doesn't protect you if the prep chain itself isn't flawless. Here's the analogy. It's like buying an organic label from a factory cafeteria. The language sounds wholesome, but the process behind it is still industrial. The trays of rice and beans line up under heat lamps the same way any large kitchen runs them. Batch-made, fast-cooled, and waiting. Then there's the flavor problem. By letting every customer freestyle their bowl, the chain removes the balance designed by traditional cooking. Authentic dishes rely on proportion, the salt, citrus, and chili levels working together. Crank up one and the whole design falls apart. Chipotle's mission to satisfy everyone ends up pleasing no recipe at all. An Americanized remix of flavor control posing as choice. Number 3, Del Taco. Fries next to tacos is your first clue that something's off. When a drive-thru sells both milkshakes and burritos, it's telling you more about profit strategy than culinary heritage. Del Taco built its name on being a cheap crossover. Half burger joint, half Tex-Mex, and heavy on the shortcuts that keep cars moving. The mix seems harmless, who doesn't love options? But that same something for everyone idea often signals a kitchen spread too thin. A grill that flips burgers, fries potatoes, and assembles tacos during the same rush hour isn't focusing on spice layering or masa quality, it's streamlining. Authentic Mexican restaurants commit to one direction. Maybe Yucatan-style cochinita, maybe Baja tacos, but always precise. Breadth replaces mastery when menus balloon like this. Studies of fast food operations show that wider menus tend to trade craft for speed. When the ingredient list covers beef patties, ice cream mix, tortillas, and lettuce shreds, the fryer oil becomes a universal solvent, carrying flavor from one dish to the next. That means your taquito ends up tasting faintly like yesterday's fries. Here's the truth. That isn't cultural fusion. It's corner cutting. The more a chain stretches itself to serve everything, the less attention goes to the seasoning, the grill timing, and the grain of the tortilla. And that loss of focus sets up the next trap: restaurants that hide the same shortcuts behind a big show. Number 4 on the border. A margarita tower and a sizzling skillet do not guarantee authenticity. On the Border thrives on this exact illusion. Bright lights, loud colors, and plates that hiss as they hit the table. The display feels festive, but it's designed for effect. Each bite still traces back to centralized production, where kitchen theatrics replace slow-built flavor. That trademark sizzle, the pre-timed steam show, distracts from how standardized the recipes are. Many dishes depend on ready-made sauces, canned refried beans, and shredded yellow cheese that melts fast, but tastes the same no matter the order. It's a stage trick, not culinary depth. Authentic Mexican seasoning builds from the balance of dried and fresh chile, herbs, and lime, layers that can't survive in a system built for quick plating. Those signals, the canned sides and processed toppings, imitate authenticity the way a souvenir imitates craftsmanship. They look right from a distance, but lose character up close. In regional Mexican kitchens, heat, acid, and texture all work in measured harmony. Swap real ingredients for processed ones, and that balance collapses. If you watch closely, you'll see the red flags. Identical beans from plate to plate, cheese that never varies in color, tortillas that stay soft hours past service. These are clues to sourcing shortcuts hiding beneath the spectacle. Here's the truth. This is performance food, not preservation of culture. Next, see how Qdoba repeats the same custom to failure formula. Number 5. Qdoba. Qdoba feels like deja vu, because the menu is nearly identical to every other burrito bar on the block. You step up, customize your bowl, and feel in control. But that build-your-own setup isn't cultural appreciation. It's a formula built for ease, not authenticity. Unlimited toppings sound generous, yet they strip away structure. Real Mexican cooking depends on equilibrium. Seasoning measured to match meat, sauce, and starch. When customers pile on sour cream, queso, and 3 salsas, the original intent disappears. It's like tuning a song, then letting every listener twist their own dials until nothing remains of the melody. Take traditional recipes like mole poblano or chiles en nogada. Each has dozens of steps designed to balance sweet, smoky, and spicy tones. Swap or stack random flavors and you erase centuries of refinement. Researchers who study menu engineering note that too many substitutions erase flavor architecture, the careful build that gives a dish identity. Qdoba's constant mix and match model undermines that foundation every time a scoop crosses the counter. The bright serving line and colorful containers make it look premium, but that's marketing camouflage. The design sells abundance, not craft. The restaurant's success relies on convincing you more choice equals better quality. Here's the truth. Qdoba's comfort zone is convenience disguised as culture. For anyone chasing genuine flavor, that overstuffed buffet line is the biggest warning sign. And now, let's move toward the rare chains that get it closer to right. Number 1, El Pollo Loco. Not every chain gets written off. Some hold on to pieces of authenticity. El Pollo Loco is one of the few that stays closer to real Mexican roots while still running a fast food kitchen. Its focus on flame-grilled chicken separates it from the fried or pre-mixed approach, so common in big chains. The main act here isn't melted cheese or overfilled burritos. It's the char on the chicken and the marinade that gives it that citrus bite. Each piece is seasoned before it hits the grill, using blends built around lime, garlic, and mild peppers instead of salt packets or powdered coating. That shift matters. It leans on methods found in northern Mexican home cooking, where grilling over open flame defines the meal. You can see the difference in texture. The meat isn't identical from plate to plate because it's actually cooked by heat, not reheated in oil. Traditions from ranch-style regions favor corn tortillas and lean, marinated cuts. Simple, direct, and smoke-driven. El Pollo Loco's menu lines up with that rhythm. No stack of toppings, no filler meat hiding in sauce, just restraint that lets flavor carry the dish. Here's the truth. Scaling up doesn't mean erasing culture if the base process respects real preparation. This chain shows that fast food can honor the flame and keep its identity intact. Next up, a modern chain that bends Tex-Mex into something quirky but careful. Number 2, Torchy's Tacos. Bold, loud, and unapologetically Tex-Mex, but done with purpose. Torchy's Tacos doesn't try to convince you it's traditional Mexican cuisine. It tells you up front it's a fusion joint, and that honesty counts for something. What keeps it above the usual fast casual crowd is focus. A tight menu, quality tortillas, and salsas made fresh in-house. Those choices don't replace authenticity. but they show respect for real flavor. Instead of dumping yellow cheese and bottled sauces on every plate, Torchy's pays attention to the basics. Their tacos highlight texture, crispy, grilled, or soft, but always backed by ingredients that still taste like themselves. You notice the difference in the tortillas. Soft with a hint of corn aroma, not the dry, shelf-stable kind that crack when folded. The kitchen's limited scope allows better control, so sauces stay balanced and meats are cooked for nuance, not mass volume. Here's the kicker. Torchy's succeeds where others fake it because it knows it's Tex-Mex and leans in proudly. Authentic or not, care in tortilla craft and salsa prep signals integrity. It reflects the same rule serious cooks follow everywhere. Good food depends on attention, not excess. The result isn't heritage cuisine, but it's far from fast food theater. Torchy's earns partial trust by staying grounded in quality and transparency. Now we turn to chains that hide overkill behind the mask of fresh style marketing. Number 3, Moe's Southwest Grill. You walk in and shout, "Welcome to Moe's," before realizing the food could be from anywhere. That chant is the real signature here. Part of a show meant to set the tone before you even see the menu. Moe's built its identity on energy and branding, not on a culinary focus. The music, slogans, and neon make every visit feel lively, but none of it answers what type of food is actually being served. Every plate reflects the same confusion. Nachos, wraps, burritos, and bowls stacked with whatever you point to on the line. That Southwest label turns into a patchwork of ideas that don't belong together. Authentic Mexican cooking follows internal logic, specific spices, proportions, and sauces that define regional rhythm. Moe's tosses all of that aside for crowd-pleasing excess. The endless toppings and vague Southwestern tag are warning signs. Food researchers note that menus loaded with hybrids like flour wraps and barbecue toppings often reveal a kitchen-chasing novelty instead of focus. The result is cafeteria-style variety dressed in bright marketing. Here's the truth. When entertainment replaces craft, curiosity about real food dies off. The noise in the dining room drowns out the details on the plate, leaving you with a mashup that tastes more American mall than Mexican market. Moe's proves how marketing overtakes meaning once a brand sells vibe over flavor integrity. Now, let's recenter on places working to earn that credibility back. Number 4, Rosa Mexicano. Cloth napkins and guac made tableside don't automatically signal authenticity. Rosa Mexicano built its reputation on glossy presentation. A fine dining stage where Mexican food wears upscale polish. The dining rooms glow in deep colors. Plates drift out in perfect symmetry, and service feels choreographed for people expecting refinement rather than rustic fire. That polish draws attention, but it sparks a quiet debate. Are those elegant touches a modern tribute, or do they tone down the cuisine for Western palates? Rosa Mexicano walks that thin line. Dishes often begin with classic structures, mole, cochinita, enchiladas, but the edges go soft. Spice levels drop, acidity fades, and bold chiles turn into mild background notes, all in service of comfort. Traditional chefs argue that true Mexican flavor depends on depth, not restraint. Every sauce or stew builds through layers: roasted seeds, dried chili, raw onion, crushed herbs, all time to deliver balance. When a restaurant broadens its reach, that layering can get replaced by gentler shortcuts that look refined but lose their story. Still, refinement isn't the enemy. When a chef protects core techniques, grilling over flame, pressing fresh masa, toasting chilies before blending, fine dining can magnify authenticity instead of flattening it. Rosa Mexicano sits exactly in that gray zone. Sophisticated, curated, and half-faithful. Beautiful plates, safer profiles, partial truth. Next comes a place that owns its Tex-Mex identity without apology. Number 5, Chuy's Tex-Mex Grill. When you see hubcaps on the ceiling and neon salsa bars, you already know it's Tex-Mex on purpose. Chuy's doesn't pretend otherwise, and that alone sets it apart. The place runs on bright colors, creamy sauces, and a wink to road trip diners from decades past. It's loud comfort food, dressed in nostalgia, never pretending to be a regional lesson in Mexican heritage. Everything about its plates leans into American cravings. Piles of melted yellow cheese, flour tortillas, and generous ladles of queso. The flavors are rich, salty, and heavy. Designed for indulgence, not balance. But here's the twist. It's intentional. Chuy's knows exactly what it is and refuses to label itself as authentic. That honesty, as simple as it sounds, keeps expectations grounded. Transparency is the real divide between fair fusion and false marketing. Research into consumer perception shows that clear labeling changes how diners experience food. When customers understand its fusion, satisfaction rises because they know what story they're eating. Chuy's operates in that open lane, selling Tex-Mex for what it is, a cultural mashup with big flavors and no disguise. Here's the truth. Chuy's may not teach anyone about mole technique or corn mesa history, but it also doesn't claim to. You enjoy it for what it openly offers: melt, crunch, and comfort. That honesty makes it safer for both your expectations and your taste. Next, let's expose the telltale signs of fakery versus authenticity. Authentic Mexican dining isn't about price or polish. It's about respect for balance and craft. A real kitchen builds flavor through rhythm, not decoration. You can see it in restraint. Fewer toppings, slower heat, careful seasoning. Before ordering, check the menu. Too many fillers or endless custom choices? That's chaos, not care. Taste the salsa first. It shows whether freshness or formula rules the kitchen. Here's the truth. Authenticity rewards curiosity. When you learn to spot balance and patience, you taste the culture behind the plate. Subscribe now and I'll show you what to avoid and what's actually safe.